Well, welcome to Focus Today. A very special guest in the studio with me today. Neil McCain's with us. He's the commander of the Korean War Veterans Association for the department here in Oregon. And Neil, what an honor to have you in with us today.
Well, thank you very, very much.
Quite a few things to talk about in a short amount of time, but Oregon is significant in recognizing Korean vets. Tell us about that.
Yes, June 25th, in Oregon only, of all of the 50 states, is Korean War Memorial Day. I was with our governor when he signed the bill, and had a picture taken with it, of course. And significant is because that's the day in 1950 that the war started.
Wow.
In Korea.
Wow.
Then we have another day coming up, July 27th, which will be the 60th anniversary for the signing of the armistice. And so these kind of, this is the year of the Korean War vet.
All right, now I have here with me a framed copy that you brought in the Senate of the United States, November 27, 2012. Tell us about this. This is absolutely gorgeous.
Well, this was given to me by the Senate, Ron Wyden, and I had it and didn't take time to read it immediately. We show up at his meetings that he has, and we give the Pledge of Allegiance, and he allows us to display the memorials for those that were killed in that particular county.
Wow.
And then he reads their names and holds a moment of silence.
Wow.
He's been doing that for the last 3-4 years for us.
Wow.
So he gave me this award, and I just assumed that this award was maybe something like what the Koreans do when I go to Portland. And it was clear until March that I read this.
Wow.
I didn't realize what it was.
Wow. That is significant. So now you do a lot of things. Are you looking for more information about Korean War veterans?
Absolutely. Yes, I would like all Korean War veterans to, first of all, apply for this certificate of appreciation.
Okay, and you have one there.
I have one here.
Okay.
And what these are the Department of Defense.
Yeah, this is beautiful. 1950, 1953, the Korean War.
Yes.
And this is a Korean War Certificate of Appreciation.
Yes, it is.
And that basically it means what?
Well, thank you, I guess is what it means.
Okay.
But now, when I went to their website, they had something there to donate. You can enroll for that. And I told them, we already had over 5 million donate their time. We had 38,000 of them die. I said, I think you ought to take that donate off of their website.
Okay.
They promised that they will.
Okay. Now you have a stack of these in your office to give out. How many?
414.
414.
Yeah.
And is that for where? All over the country or here?
My classmates only there.
Really?
But I did not have the addresses from my classmates, so they sent them all to me to have them distributed. I did have all my shipmates, 176 of them. They had their addresses and they mailed them.
Wow.
I had all of the Korean War vets here locally that belonged to their chapters. I had their names. Then I went on the radio and over in Grants Pass, and I had left the applications there at their counter, and people have done it. I went to the newspaper, and several people that I called that I had their certificates, that they said that they got 2 of them now because they saw me, or read it in the newspaper how to get them, because you can get them online. There is a website.
Let me just say to our viewers and listeners, you can go to McCainInstitute.com. That's his website to get more information about all these things we're talking about, and especially if you have any connection to a Korean War vet, contact Neil through his website, McCainInstitute.com, because you have other things. You not only have the certificate, but you have memorials and then a certificate for those who are still alive. And that's free?
Yes, that's free. I do that free. If I have the names, well, now when they're alive, I have to have their DD-214.
Okay.
The DD-214 tells me enough information that I show them. It's just a one-page thing, similar to this.
All right, let me have that so I can show that. And so you make these up and you send them to, they're beautifully done. I don't know if our camera can pick that up.
I email them to them free.
Wow.
When they wish, I'll put it on a CD, And then I can take it down to Staples. Some places got one of these
fancy printers.
And put it on glossy white. Looks like a photograph.
Well, I'm really curious to find out how did Oregon become the only state to have a Korean War Memorial Day?
There was one representative, a woman, a Democrat, another senator, a woman, a Democrat. They thought we should have one. And I had been talking to them. I said, we don't. And they pushed the bill through. And so I was up there and I signed with when the governor signed for it. I got a picture side by side. And that was very gracious of them.
Oh, that's wonderful. So we're the only state that has this coming up on the 25th. And that's the Korean War Memorial Day, and that's the first day of the war in 1950.
That's the business started.
Okay, and then the actual Armistice Day was
July 27th.
Right. And
3 years later.
So how many died in Korea?
There was over 5 million in the 3 years. We lost 2,000 to starvation and frostbite.
Wow.
It's so sad. I've made a list of both Vietnam and those, and I do the memorials from how they died, where they died. People always ask me, what's the difference between a Korean vet and a Vietnam vet? And my canned answer was age.
Right.
But after reading those, and I'm doing the memorials now for Vietnam, Korea was so cold, miserably cold, and we had no supplies. And the young men, all of them lost their lives so terribly, viciously. Vietnam, very, very hot, miserable, hot, mosquito, all kinds of disease, and Agent Orange.
Right.
I don't know much about them personally, but I do know this for those that died, because I've read how they died. They all did what they were told to do, and they did it honorably. And I would like people to remember them.
Well, I think, quite frankly, we don't pay a whole lot of attention to the Korean War. For some reason, it got eclipsed by the Vietnam War, which was highly politically charged, as you well know.
Yes, it was.
But, and some actually served in both arenas. Some,
absolutely.
There were some very young in the Korean War that ended up going into the Vietnam War.
Absolutely. My ship, had I stayed in, would have been in both.
Really?
But I came home after the war was over. I wasn't discharged yet, but I pulled in a drive-in restaurant. Looked at the car next to me. That was the young girl parked over there that I took to the prom in 1950.
Really?
Well, it all ended up, I ended up marrying her.
Oh.
And 59 years. We just had our 59th anniversary.
Congratulations.
And so I loved the Navy. I loved it. And I got a grandson just called me up and asked me the same thing. He's in the Navy. Found a girl. But I love my wife more. And whether you're 10 miles out or 10,000 miles out, you ain't home.
Yeah, right, right.
And so I decided to get out.
So you were in, were you there for the full 3 years of that war?
4.
4 years of that war.
Well, the war was 3 years. Yeah, I was in longer than that.
Yeah.
We were in what we called the China service at that particular time after the war. Was Taiwan at one time was called Formosa. In fact, the first time I went there it was called Formosa.
Formosa, yeah.
And the last time I went there it was Taiwan, Kaohsiung. And that's when they had 300 Chinese on one side of their little island out there. And they were all shooting at us. Small arms, of course. We were told to stay off the side of the port. Right. And so they were getting ready to invade Taiwan. And so we got some kind of a little award for that as well.
Well, again, Neil heads up, he's the commander of the Korean War Veterans Association here in Oregon. And if you know anybody that's connected with the Korean War, family or friend, go to McCainInstitute.com and let Neil know where you are, and the certificate of appreciation, and perhaps even one of these other certificates that he can send to you via email or on a disc. He'll get that out to you. And don't forget, Korean War Memorial Day coming up June 25th. The only state in the Union that has it, Oregon.
Yes, at the present time.
And well, I want to say thank you for following that through the legislature all the way to the point of a bill and a day.
Working with them, I finally found out what whereas meant.
And how many did you have in this bill?
12.
12? Okay. Well, welcome to the political arena. Thank you for your service.
Thank you very,
and thanks
very much.
for coming in. Okay, we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Paulina, and I work at theDove TV. Did you know that when you support theDove TV, you have a profound impact, not only in our community, but around the world? It's your continued support that takes the inspiration and hope in the programs we produce and makes them available to the thousands of people who are watching these videos online every week. Help bring encouragement and hope to our valley and beyond by making a secure online donation today at our website, thedove.us.
Well, how'd you like to be in high school and write a book and have it published? Well, our next guest did just that. She is Danielle D'Souze. She wrote a book, Why God? And I think she's well on her way to being an apologist. Join me now as we talk to her about her book. Well, today we have a very unique honor of talking to someone that, well, I've interviewed her father on several occasions, but now it's her turn, and that's Danielle D'Souze with her new book called Why God? An intelligent discussion on the relevance of faith. And let me encourage you to check this book out. Her dad did write the foreword on that, and it's put out by Regal, and I think you ought to check it out at the Christian bookstores or certainly Barnes & Noble or Amazon.com. Danielle, I can tell you at the outset that you're much prettier than your father.
Aw, that's not very nice.
Nice to have you with us. How are you doing today?
Great, thank you for having me.
Well, fascinating books. Not often that college students would take on the subject of apologetics as forcefully as you have. Why did you do this?
I'm actually in high school. I'm just finishing high school.
Right.
But I decided to do this because I had a lot of questions about God when I was growing up, and I felt like other kids shared some of the same questions. So I wanted to put it into a book, into a format that was easy for young people to understand so that they could get answers to their questions about God.
Well, you've done an excellent job, and you've taken on some of the big controversial subjects. And first of all, how's the response been?
The response has been good. The response has been good, especially from young people, because I think they understand that I don't come saying that I know the absolute answers. I really come saying, this is what I think, this is my opinion. And so I'm really open to discussion and conversation. So I think that that keeps people from being upset with me or thinking that I'm one-sided.
Well, as you take on these topics, did you discover anything unique about what young people are thinking when it comes to faith, especially high school, college students, and how are they seeking God? Are they looking for truth?
Right. I think that young people do have questions about God, but at the same time, I think that young people aren't taught as much. They just don't know as much about God because they're not learning it from their parents. They're not learning it from school anymore. It's really become out of the public square a little bit more. So I think that young people are just a little bit more ignorant as far as some of the issues as far as God goes. But I do think that they're curious. And so I think that it was a book that was needed. I think that was true. But at the same time, I think that young people don't like to be talked down to from, let's say, someone who's from a higher, like a pastor or something. So I think it helps that I'm their age so I can just talk to them.
What are some of the topics you found interesting to discuss with them?
I think a big one is why didn't God prevent the Holocaust? Why did he allow that to happen? Because we learn about that in school often, in history, and it just seems like such an awful thing. So I think people wonder like how that could have happened. Mm-hmm. I think miracles is a big one because that's central to Christianity, because believing that Jesus raised from the dead, that seems pretty important if you're going to be a Christian. So I think those would be the big ones.
So when they ask, why would a loving God allow such a horrific thing happen like the Holocaust or even recently some of the terrorist attacks, how do you respond?
Well, pretty much what I said in that chapter was that people like to blame God because it was such an awful thing, and it seems like he's an easy target to blame, but it really wasn't God that created the Holocaust or inflicted pain upon these people. It was Hitler and all of the people who aligned with him and helped him hurt others and ran the concentration camps. So I think that if Hitler hadn't rose to power, if, let's say, you wanted God to intervene and not let him be the leader, then I think you would have had to prevent World War I, and then would just have to keep on going back, and would end up he would have to prevent free will. And so I think that God wanted us to have that, so that we could do great things and believe in him and have faith in him, because without it we wouldn't be able to do those good things either.
Well, Danielle, I also noticed you didn't shy away from some of the key social issues of the day, from same-sex marriage to abortion. And are young people concerned about those issues?
I think so. I think they're very hot topics. I think that, schools and the culture is starting to encourage people to really be for gay marriage, especially right now. But I think that they come up all the time in schools, and I think kids are really interested as to what Christians and other people think about those issues.
Do they look at us as somewhat bigoted because we believe what the Bible says about that?
Some of them do, and I think it's might have to do with because some of the Christians who speak the loudest or maybe get the most media attention are really the ones who don't represent actual Jesus. Because when I talk about this, I say, Jesus was the most loving. He loves everyone, and everyone has their own issues and faults, and so we shouldn't act like we're better than anyone. And so I think people who approach, let's say, gay marriage by saying we hate gays and stuff, that's not really representative of Christianity, because that's not how Jesus would have acted. And I think that those kind of people who act that way get a lot of attention, so young people have a wrong misunderstanding of Christians.
How do young people, as you worked on this book, refer to eternity and life after death?
Yeah, I talk about how do we know that there's life after death, how do we know that we have souls, and in that one I kind of mostly draw on life after death experiences, because those have been really prevalent. A lot of people don't give those very much attention, even though there are so many of them. And I also talk about a little bit of brain science, but not really my thing. But yeah. Yeah.
Well, the other thing that's very controversial is that we Christians, obviously, we certainly explain a loving God and eternal life, but we also claim that the only way to heaven is through Christ, and that would seemingly put a lot of religions out. How do you explain that?
Right. I say, does anyone really deserve hell? That seems like a very complicated question. And it is, because I'm not God. I really don't know everyone's salvation. I can't determine that just based on whether you're here, from there, or anything. And I think even some Christians who call themselves Christians will end up going to heaven. So it's really not that simple, because you can call yourself a Christian, but you might not really have the faith in him. You might just say that. So I don't think it can be easily labeled. At the same time, of course, you do need Jesus who would save you. So, but then of course there are people who haven't even heard of Jesus. So I really can't give a definite answer as far as just labeling people that way. But I do think that, of course, God will judge everyone.
Well, does pluralism, is that a problem within academics today? I mean, in the end, whether you are a Christian or a Buddhist or a Hindu or a Muslim, at the end we're all believe in the same God, so therefore we all go to heaven?
Right, that's really popular, especially among young people, just being spiritual or just thinking that all religions have some truth to them. But whenever I answer that, I always say that if something is true, then everything else has to be false. And so you can't say that Christianity is true, Judaism is true, and Islam is true, because they can't all be true. If Christianity is true, then Judaism and Islam are not true. So I think that it's easy for young people to want to say that all the religions have good things to say and are true. And I think that, of course, everyone is trying to find the truth, and all of those are attempts to get there, but at the same time, they can't all be true. Do
you find it hard being a Christian in academia today?
Academia, well, I'm in high school.
Well,
so,
yeah, but I mean, you're in high school, but I mean, you're in an academic setting, and you're obviously going to college. But I just, you know,
right.
It also seems to be very pluralistic in that atmosphere. And here you are trying to define one faith among many.
Right. Yeah, it's very difficult because a lot of people do share that belief of pluralism. Many religions are right, but I think that there are Christians who have really good things to say and are very firm in their beliefs. So I think that's good. I just think that there has to be discussion, and I don't think that discussion has to mean that I have to necessarily say that all the other religions are true.
Because we live in this world today where we're fighting for truth. At the end of the day, people want to know, is there a God? Does he have something to say? Is he real? And therefore, what is truth? I mean, it seems like everything that we are facing today is being challenged, and we don't know where truth really is. And is that something you see among even high school students?
Right. I mean, most high school students don't know what's going on. But yeah, I think that most people, just as humans, we genuinely want to know the truth, and sometimes we might not like it, we might not want to accept it, and other times we just might want to believe in something that seems like it's easier. But I think that everybody as humans has this desire to have some sort of a purpose, thinking that there is something bigger.
Wow. Well, not many high school students get a book published, so this is a huge accomplishment, and it's called Why God? An intelligent discussion on the revelation of faith, and you may want to check it out. And Danielle D'Souze, her father, who we've had on the show several occasions, has written the foreword to that. You know, your dad's quite an apologist, and I would assume that puts a lot of pressure on you.
Oh, no. I mean, I didn't have to do this. I chose it, and he's really helped me a lot to get to this place and really think about these issues. Good
for you. Do you see yourself going into this line in the future? Do you think you want to become more an apologist?
Seems like I'm already in the line, but yeah, I would. I would definitely like to continue to pursue these things because they're very important.
Well, I commend you for it, because I think you have done a great work in trying to take a look at all these issues. And I just find it, to me, somewhat healthy that young people, teenagers, and even into the college years, are starting to ask these questions now. And I would hope that with the questions being asked, that that Christianity is allowed to be expressed in the classroom, where heretofore it seems to be silenced.
Right. People are really trying to push Christianity out of schools, out of just the public square. And so I think that Christians have to fight to even stay as an equal party with other religions and other views being expressed.
Wow, wonderful. Danielle, thank you for your time. And again, congratulations on the book. Are you writing a sequel?
Oh, well, I don't know about a sequel. I'm still just trying to get this book out there and focus on that. But maybe in the future, another one.
Well, good for you. Again, it's put out by Regal Books. You may want to check it out, regalbooks.com. Check it out at Evangel or Christian Discount Books there in Jacksonville, or online at Amazon, or check it out at Barnes & Noble. I think you'll find it to be refreshing and well researched. And again, congratulations and thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Little gal, and look forward to having her back soon. Hey, coming up next, how are you doing with your time management? Are you honest with it when you write things down? Do you really get to them? Well, we're going to talk about that next, coming up on Focus Today.
Hi, I'm Danielle and I work at theDove TV. You know, compared to Portland, Seattle, and LA, Medford might be considered a small market, but at theDove, we're excited about the opportunity to make a big impact right here in our community. And you help make that happen. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us now by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us, or by phoning 541-776-5368.
Well, how are you doing with your time management? You know, do you carry an electronic device that keeps track of your appointments and your schedule, or do you use an old-fashioned write it down on a calendar, daytimer type device? Well, our next guest, Dr. Fred Lybrand, he's authored quite a few books, and he wrote a book entitled the number one success habit you can do without. All right, let's talk to him about that. Well, how are you doing with your time management, and how are you doing with all of your habits? And at the end of the day, are you as productive as you hope to have been? Well, we are really honored to have with us today Dr. Fred Lybrand. He's an author of quite a few books, and the one that we want to talk to him about is the number one successful habit that you can't do without today, and there's a picture up there on the screen. He's authored quite a few books, and he's also has consulted quite a few companies and organizations to become more productive, higher levels of productivity and performance in their company. And so, Dr. Lybrand, nice to have you with us today. And looking through the book, I'm always interested in this topic because as a person who manages a fairly active staff, I always wonder, man, are we getting things done? Are we productive? I read all of the E-Myth books and everything, trying to figure out, are we doing it the right way? But what made you take this topic on?
Well, you know, one of them, the big reasons is just personal. I've always struggled personally with like having ADD, except I learned my diagnosis this year is ADOS, which is attention deficit, squirrel. and you know, with that kind of dynamic, I've been wrestling with a way to approach time and getting things done that isn't like for people with accounting degrees that love calendars, etc. I'm not that kind of person, and there's some way to think about this for the rest of the population instead of that 1/3 or 1/4 of the people.
Are we too ratcheted up? Are we trying to get too much done in a day?
Well, we are. We're actually, the way the book approaches it is we're not ratcheted up and trying to get too much done. Our problem is that we're not honest. Our eyes are bigger than our stomach, kind of like going to the cafeteria line. And what the reality is, or the truth of this thing, is that we can only get so much done. If we're efficient, we can get more done. But instead of being honest about what we're going to do, we pretend that we're going to do all this stuff. And as a result, we overcommit and overstress, and then overeat and overexhaust, and you know, try our best to kind of shorten our life.
All right, so what is it? What's the one thing we can do without?
Well, the one success habit you need, the one thing you can do without is you can do without fibbing to yourself, dishonesty. You can start telling the truth about what you really get done. The one success habit is the habit of learning to get done every day exactly what you mean to get done. And what we do in the book is show you how to think about systems and exactly how to think about items on your list and figure out, am I really going to do that today or not? Because once you can admit that to yourself, the entire game changes, I promise.
Wow, that's a biggie, especially for those of us who have a hard time saying no to commitment.
Exactly. But there's a way to do it, and it's a habit. You know, a habit is something you develop that you don't have to think about. And so we want to get it to that habit level. It doesn't start there, but when you get it down to that level, then life becomes much simpler because you're shooting straight. You know what you can get done, know what you can't, and you're not freaking out, as my kids would say, about everything that's coming at you, you know, in a day.
Now, you're not big on to-do lists, right?
Actually, I would say I'm probably against them. I'm probably, if I could stomp out something on the planet that would bring more health and more people instantly.
Yeah.
Generally, unless you use it wrongly, you know, the way most people use it, it's an overwhelm list. It's a place to continue to collect more and more and more, and you never really get caught up, and you never experience success. You never experience knocking it out. It's just a never-ending set of waves. It's like being a little kid at the beach, in the ocean. A wave hits you, you get up, wipe your eyes, another wave hits you, another wave hits you. That's what a to-do list does to people.
Wow. So what's the one successful habit that can help us get motivated to take on the day? Sometimes we start with the blues and we're tired, and you know, I have these spurts. I'm sure you have them too. I'll just sit at my desk and I'll get a million things done. Then there's days I just keep pushing the piles around. Right.
And at the end of the day, from pushing the piles around, you feel terrible. Or you may not feel terrible, but you don't feel chipper.
Yeah.
And you didn't get that much done. I mean, I had this Monday. My son got married over the weekend, and Monday showed up, and I had some things I wanted to do. And you know what? My Coke had lost its fizz. And so I got honest with myself, and I said, what am I really going to do today? And I looked at the items on my list, and I said, are you going to do that one? And I said, yes. And then I said to myself the next question, which is, really? And I went, and I said, really? And I went, nah. And so I scratched that one off. And by the time I went through it, I realized the most important thing for me to do that day first was to take a nap, which I did. And then when I woke up, there were some other strategic messes I cleaned up that weren't productive, except they set me up to have a productive Tuesday. That's because I sat down and got honest with myself about what I really would do in the day. Most of us are not doing that, and as a result, we're in trouble. Let me throw it real quick. The trick is to have a closed list every day. A closed list means a list of what you're going to get done, and you're pretty much not adding anything to it. That's all you're getting done that day. Since most people don't have a closed list, they don't have a good way to be focused, because anything can fly at you.
How do you handle interruptions?
I like interruptions. In fact, I love interruptions. They're exciting. If I have no one around, I'll interrupt myself. I don't mind that at all.
Well, you are DOS.
Yeah. However, what I do with them is I look at them in terms of urgency. And if the interruption is not urgent, Covey taught us there's a difference between urgent and important.
Right.
And I go through the book to explain that's completely wrong. I mean, I like him, God rest his soul, but the truth is that if it's not urgent, why do it? Urgency displays importance relative to time. That's why it's urgent. It's made up to pretend like something is not urgent that is, or something like that. And I've found if I look at the things and just say, is that more urgent than what I'm doing? And if the answer is no, I put it in a place called a may-do list. I just put it where it needs to go. And then if it is more urgent, guess what? I move it to the top because I can be interrupted. If a kid breaks an arm, tough break on my list. I have a higher priority. It's already understood that I'll interrupt myself to get into the hospital or the doctor.
Do you manage your time through a daytimer type system, or are you electronic? How do you do it?
Most of it is electronic. I have two things I do. I use a Google the list. I just create some lists. I have a may-do catalog, a weekly may-do, and a daily will-do. Those are my lists there. And I have a little app on my iPhone that I use. Or my favorite thing to do is just to take a 3x5 card, divide it into 3 columns, write what I'm going to do, I think, the day in the middle column. That's my maybe column. And then I go through and sort them. Am I going to do that today? Really? And if it's yes, then I move it to the will do column to the left, scratch it through. If I'm not going to do it, I'd move it to the will not do. By the time I sort that, I mean, there's just nothing to it. I know what to work on. And since I know I'm going to get it all done that day, I just get busy.
Attaboy. So, what do you want people to get from your book?
Perry, you're going to have to repeat that.
I said, what's the essence you want people to get from your book?
The essence I want them to get is that unless you read it, you want to appreciate what I'm saying. However, when you read it, what I want you to get from the One Success Habit is that you actually have the ability already to know what you will do and not do if you sit and think about it. You have that capacity. Most people don't recognize it. And so once we start training people to admit what they really will do or not do in a day, their productivity goes way up because they have a way to focus now instead of feeling overwhelmed.
Do we put too much pressure on ourselves?
Sure. And listen, if you don't, you've got family and friends and parents and pastors and teachers that'll fill in the gap for you.
Wow, it's a fascinating thing. I have discovered that interruptions sometimes I can't avoid, especially when you're in management and you got a lot of people coming in at you. But it does interrupt your ability to get the list done, and you're rolling them over to the next day, and then you've lost that motivation.
Exactly. What we teach people in management, one of the things we invented for them was to have the people that report to them come and say this simple thing. unless you have an objection, I'm going to, and you fill in the blank. So what it does is it allows the people reporting to you to initiate a solution. And then you can inform them, yes, wait, go for it, that sounds good, or I know something else that we need to wait on. My favorite thing to do is to say to somebody, what would you do if I were dead? And then they tell me, and 90% of the time I go, that sounds good, go do that. makes the interruption, last about that long.
Oh, that's wonderful. The other thing is that's so interesting is that we have a tendency to want to move our management style over to somebody else, maybe somebody that's underneath us. Is that a fair thing to do?
Only if they are a clone of you. I mean, it'd be like trying to require somebody to write left-handed because you do when they're right-handed. Why would you do that?
Yeah, okay.
That style, the uniqueness of personality is still the uniqueness of personality. I mean, there are principles, but some people want more information. Some people want the bottom line. That's why you have to learn to work together. I mean, what's the old saying in marriage? If you're both the same, one of you is necessary.
Yeah.
But it's going to be true with management, too. I mean, that's part of the diversity is what makes a team oftentimes really cool, really work.
What do you think of the one-minute manager, that style of management, time management?
I like the idea. I tell you what I do like. I like the idea of dealing with things as they come along.
Right.
This idea of having a yearly review, my goodness, once a year you're giving feedback? I mean, that's just strange if you think about it. Quarterly, maybe, but issue by issue, that's what people need. Good job. Catch them doing something good. Tell them they did something good. If something wasn't quite right, help them understand how we can do it better next time. I mean, most people really, all management's about expectations and consequences. And of the two, the most important is expectations. Most people do not know what their boss wants from them because they've never actually gotten it clear.
Mm. The book is entitled One Success Habit You Can Do Without. I tell you what, it's a really a tremendous tool for those of you who are struggling with managing your time and how to get by with things at the end of the day that you realize you didn't get done. Of course, I like the bottom line of what you're saying here, Dr. Lybrand, and that is that being honest with yourself. I have to tell you, I guess my enthusiasm sometimes overrides my reality. I want to get all this done. I just need to be more honest and say, nope, I'm not going to get that done today.
Yeah, and what'll happen in the course of time is you're going to get a whole lot more done. But just that honesty of being able to admit what you can and can't do, kind of like we do with money when we finally admit what we can and can't afford.
Yeah.
Life actually goes better. It may not feel as good for a moment, but it feels great when you're not having to go to the pawn shop every day to cover something.
All right, well, you're a delight. I'll let you get back to feeding the squirrels. I assume that they can get your book online, right?
They can. Go just Amazon in particular, The One Success Habit. In fact, I think if they put Success Habit in, they'll find it straight up.
Yeah, straight up. That's right. All right, thanks, my friend. Nice to talk to you.
Take care. Thanks.
All right, he's a hoot. Hey, coming up, do you like hot dogs, do you like baseball, and do you like Christian music all wrapped into one? Well, we're going to talk about that next year on Focus Today.
Hi, I'm Paula, and I work at theDove TV. Every day we get letters and emails from people who've been encouraged, blessed, and challenged by the programs on theDove TV. But we couldn't do it without you. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us continue to bring inspiration and hope to our community by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us, or call us at 541-776-5368.
Well, I tell you what, some great things are happening in Southern Oregon and ministering to young people, and even something that the whole family can get involved with. I am really excited to have in the studio with us Jim Winans, and Jim is the founder of Impact Athletes, and along with him is Dave Gomez, who kind of works as ministry director. Gentlemen, nice to see you guys.
Thank
Jim,
you
good
for
to see
having
you.
us.
Yeah. Impact Athletes, you guys are getting around. Tell us about it. What's it all about?
Actually, first of all, I heard that you liked having Amy better than me last time.
Well, yeah.
What was that with that?
Well, yeah.
And when I came in this morning, everybody was like, Amy's not here.
No,
You're here.
well,
so it's kind of
what can I
disappointing
say? Beauty and the Beast. Beauty wins.
But anyway, we started this nonprofit sports ministry about a year ago, and God's just been blessing it, opening doors up. We've been partnering with churches left and right, and over the school year, about 400 kids were impacted through this ministry.
Wow.
Every week on campus. We have 13 campus Bible studies throughout the Road Valley here, and
wow.
It's just God's doing a great work through
So
it.
you use athletics to get into the school?
Yeah, just using the platform of athletics. We want to put Christ at the center of athletics and share the gospel and advance His kingdom.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, good work.
Thank you.
How do people get a hold of you if they want to help, be a part of that?
Actually, just go to our website, like us on Facebook, Impact Athletics. The website is called www.soimpactathletics.org.
Okay.
And plug in right there, and we'll get in touch with you. And we'd love to have some volunteers and help.
All right, good. Dave.
Yes, yeah.
Big night coming up at the ballpark.
Yeah, big
This
night.
is fun. And
Yeah.
I tell you, I don't know what your church is doing about this, or maybe you haven't heard about it, but this is something the whole faith community in Southern Oregon needs to get behind, quite frankly. And that's coming up June 25th?
Yeah, June 25th, last Tuesday of the month, we're going to have Faith and Family Night. We're going to be having a concert with Paul Wright. He's going to be doing a little pre-concert at 6:30, and then after the ball game, we're going to be right there out the field. He's going to be having a concert.
All right.
And we got a few little fun activities as a dizzy bat race with some pastors we're trying to put together, and yeah, a few little other fun things for the family.
All right, this is all going to be out at the new Southern Oregon ballpark, and that's where the Medford Rogues are now the team, and their season's up and running and going very strong. They have done a complete remodel there at the Harry and David Field. It is beautiful. And so June 25th is Faith Night. And how do you get tickets? How do people get involved in this?
So at our website, impactathletics.org, or also at Evangel, we're selling tickets in Bobbio's Pizza in Central Point. Or you can contact us too.
Okay, and can they get blocked for their youth group and stuff like that?
Yes, correct. Yeah, we have 1,000 tickets to sell. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's our goal.
Okay, that's wonderful. And it's all coming up, and it's a ball game.
Ball game plus the concert.
Plus the concert.
$8.
Really?
$8, yeah.
You can't beat that.
Perfect for the family, yeah. That's what we're talking about.
Well, I tell you what, it's a fun night, June 25th, and I would hope that we could partner with people and get the word out. And if your youth group is looking for something to do, maybe just, you know, maybe your old people's group.
Yeah. The whole family.
I mean, the whole group can go out there. Everybody loves a good ball game.
Yeah, totally.
And the Rogues will be fine. You know who they're playing that night, by any chance?
Defending champions, Wenatchee.
Wenatchee, yeah, the Wenatchee, yeah.
Something like that.
Really? Okay. So anyway, it'll be a big game, and then the concert will be. What a great idea! And in a way, some of these funds will go to help do what you guys do.
Yeah. Yep.
13 campuses.
13 campuses. Yeah. Over 400
So how do you
students.
use athletics to get into the school? I mean, how does the school let you into that?
Well, I think it gives us a platform. And basically, our message to kids is don't waste your sports. Don't waste the platform where you have, as a leader, a natural leader on your campus, people are looking up to you, you have influence, and how are you going to use that? And we say, make Jesus famous.
Right.
Use that platform, use what you got. You're going to be around 200 other students at your school in the high school setting. Why not use who you are and what you do for the glory of God? Right. And so we see it like in Tim Tebow in 2010 at the national championship, put under there John 3:16, you know, and that's the #1 search engine thing the next day, and so affecting so many millions and millions of people, just using your platform for the glory of God. And that's where we encourage the students to do that.
Jim, how do you get people to come? How do you get students to come to your meetings? You get together.
We provide pizza, which is a great little tool.
Yeah.
Right now we have some donors giving some money, so we're just, every dollar that's coming in, we're just buying pizza, buying Bibles, buying resources, and people, I mean, pizza works. The kids see the pizza coming down the halls and they follow the pizza, so it's a easy no-brainer to get them in the classrooms.
And so you go and you feed them pizza and get going on the studies. What's your goal with Impact Athletes?
Right now we're just volunteers. Me and Dave and my wife, we're just volunteers. We'd like to make it a full-time ministry where we could do it 100% of our time. And we want to be on every campus around the Southern Oregon area, so we want to branch out into Grants Pass, Roseburg, Klamath Falls, and see how many lives can get impacted.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah, we're getting calls from pastors in California and Wairika, and then on the coast too. They're interested.
So can a church sponsor a group?
Oh yeah.
Oh really? Is that how it works?
We would love that. So our church, what we do as we were looking for outreach opportunities, and we just said, hey, we're close to Hedrick and we're close to North Medford. We'd like to adopt those campuses, and so our church just said to Impact Athletics, here's what we want to do, and here's a check, and every month this is our outreach ministry from our church. And so that's how one example of how one church has gotten involved.
What kind of stories are you getting back from students?
Lives transformed.
Really?
Through the gospel.
Yeah.
Whole families are getting saved, plugging into local churches, and
wow,
it's not us, it's totally God just working.
One of the stories in particular is a young man, Christian Securos. He came last year to the meeting because he smelt the pizza down the hallway. And then he ended up coming to my church and went on a mission trip with us. Ends up getting baptized in September and just getting his life just radically transformed by the gospel, and then plugging into church and then becoming the leader this year of the South Medford Impact Club. And now he's off to Whitworth College in Spokane on full ride, and it was just amazing to see this young man's life change. Yeah.
Well, again, you may want to check it out. This is impactathletes.org.
Yeah, athletics.org. Yeah.
Okay, and check that out. But more importantly, for the moment, June 25th is Faith Night out at the ballpark there at Harry and David at the Medford Rogues. They'll be playing a game. You got a free concert with Paul Wright, and that'll be done before and after. Paul?
Yeah, before and after. Yeah.
And you're gonna have a little batting contest for pastors or something.
Yeah, a little dizzy bat race with some pastors. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
You interested, Perry?
Well, I don't know. I may have to pray about that. But what is a dizzy bat race?
You put the bat right there and you spin around it, and then you run to like the first base, and people fall down. It's pretty funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you don't hit the ball.
No. You just spin around, get all dizzy around the bat, and then try to run straight line. Yeah.
Oh. You know, we ought to get some video of that. That could be incriminating. Okay, June 25th. And again, contact Dave or Jim if you want to get a hold of a block of tickets to sell in your church. I think the churches just ought to take their youth, take all various groups and just go and make a fun night out of it. There'll be plenty of hot dogs out there and things like that. And this is a way to support the community, support their organization, Impact Athletes, and then also kind of let the whole ball community know that, hey, we're with you guys and we're there. So I think it's a big thing to do. So,
another aspect of it, to invite non-Christians to it.
Yeah.
Because the gospel is going to be shared.
Yeah.
And some people will come to a baseball game, but they won't step foot in the church necessarily. So that's another aspect of it.
No question about it. I think men's groups in particular, you know, invite your buddy from work or down the street and, hey, let's go to the ball game tonight.
Yeah.
All right, so at June 25th, Faith Night out at the ballpark. And again, where can they get tickets? Evangel?
Yeah, get tickets at Evangel.
That's in the mall.
Yep, in the mall. Central Point Bobbio's Pizza.
Really?
Also on our website, and then also from us. So you can just call us up.
All right, well, let us know here at the Dove. We'll put you in contact with Jim and Dave. Hey, thanks, guys.
Thanks
for coming in. Thanks for what you do, and keep up the good work. This is exciting stuff.
Thank you.
All right,
God bless. We'll see you next time.
Hi, I'm Jim and I work at the Dove TV. Every weekday between 6 and 8 a.m., our award-winning news and sports team bring you the best morning show around. It's live, it's honest, and it's a whole lot of fun. And you help make it happen. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us continue to air local programs that share your voice by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us.